trust versus server authority? Like, what's the balance in Bitcraft? How much are you trusting clients? Cheating has like been like a huge topic lately.
Sure.
There's a whole bunch of like new MMOs that have come out recently that are subject to things like speed hacking and invincibility exploits and all this stuff. And I know the first time you were on, you and I were talking about like things like item duplication, currency duplication. Where does Bitcraft strike that balance? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. Don't ever trust clients when it comes to items, essentially. So that's number one. And I think certainly we don't allow that. And most MMOs do not allow that. The next one comes from server funny games, where the clients maybe move between servers quickly, or they do a certain set of actions which throws an error inside of the server, and then part of a transaction is done, or part of the trade is done, and then they get the items twice, that kind of thing. And so you're sort of implicitly trusting the clients to not be able to break your code on the server. And we also do not allow any of that. And the way we avoid that is by having our transactions, everything a client can do, all things that a client can do, are transactional. So either they do the whole thing exactly as we prescribed it, or they don't do it at all. So from that side of things, and sort of the items and anything to do with real material value in the world, we are on the far extreme of not trusting clients in any capacity. Like, they should not be able, even if they play weird, funny games with our server, they should never be able to cause state corruption in the server. Then there's other things like movement, and this is more where like you as a game developer can choose how far you want to go based on latency requirements and stuff like that. So in our case, for player movement and certain other things, we have server-side authority to check that you aren't doing things that are suspicious or obviously cheating. So, for example, we check timestamps to make sure, like, hey, you turn this in way too quickly, and so on. That you have to account for, like server latency and stuff like that. We do that, but only in very certain small, not super important circumstances, like movement and things of that kind. We've talked about actually making that much more stringent, and there's different techniques for doing that. But it hasn't been a problem, and it's also against the rules of the game to kind of get 50 milliseconds faster at some kind of a thing than you could otherwise do, because you're taking advantage of our latency leniency.
It's an interesting challenge with a lot of chatter going on right now, so it's cool to have the perspective of somebody making this stuff.